Hey there, welcome to the February 27th edition of Advisory Live. We're powered by Nasdaq IR Insight, and I'm your host, Will Briganti. Joining me today as my guest is Mike Bianco. Mike is an analyst with Nasdaq Advisory Services, and he's a specialist on the Strategic Capital Intelligence team. Mike, thanks so much for joining. It's great to have you here.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks, Will.
All right, so today we're going to talk about ESG. This has been a topic that we keep hearing about, but we brought in an expert today to kind of get a little bit more detail on this. So before we get into a few specific questions, break it down for our audience on what ESG is, what it stands for.
Sure. So ESG stands for Environmental Social Governance. And what we're talking about is the set of policies, processes, and rules that a company has in place that serve as its guidelines for how the business is run. And we're talking about it because it's become much more of a focus from the investment community of late.
That's right. Yeah, actually, in recent weeks, this has become incredibly important because, ESG has always been there. It's been something that's been getting a lot of traction, but I would say a pretty prominent voice in the industry was really vocal within the last few weeks. Break it down what all that was, who that was, and why that's important to the industry.
Sure. Yeah. So Larry Fink, who is the head of BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, recently sent a letter to corporate CEOs kind of demanding and telling them that they need to have an ESG framework in place that is going to account for the very long-term future. And they pushed it a step further and said, if we see anything in that framework that we kind of don't agree with or could use improving, that they have a fiduciary duty to engage, and they will engage.
Yeah, and that's pretty astonishing. I mean, BlackRock's size is worth noting. It's about $6 trillion assets under management. So obviously this is incredibly important to the investment community. But Mike, tell us why this would be important to an investor relations professional.
Sure. So, one of the biggest changes is that index investors are no longer these sort of holes in the shareholder base that they don't interact with. Seen as passive, we don't have to engage them. They actually are, this should be looked at as a new and distinctively emerging form of activism. So they become active shareholders and they engage through ESG. And that's a very different tone from, historically how it's been for the IRO.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, I really appreciate you breaking that down for us. Is there anything else that we didn't cover today that you'd like to mention?
No, just that maybe for IROs to start working with also with corporate secretaries.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
They don't have to kind of do this on their own. They're on the front lines, but since these issues roll up to the board a lot of times, corporate secretary will also work with proxy departments at the firms.
Yeah, this will be pretty important as we head into the proxy season. That's actually a very good point. Well, thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate your insight on this and very important topic, and we look forward to having you back on a future program.
Thanks, Will.
All right, thanks very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Mike Bianco. He's an analyst at Nasdaq Advisory Services and is a specialist with our Strategic Capital Intelligence team. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's edition of Advisory Live, powered by Nasdaq IR Insight. For more information on our Strategic Capital Intelligence team, be sure to visit our website, business.nasdaq.com. Mike, thanks very much.
Thanks, Will.
And have a great day. Thank you.